Internet Marketing and Business Solutions with Ronald Couming from RCS Technology Solutions, where we help business owners and entrepreneurs achieve even greater success using various Internet marketing and business activities. Today, we have a wonderful guest with us. Diane Halfman is a celebrity speaker, philanthropist, and the international premier expert in the science and psychology of SpaLife. And to give you an idea, SpaLife is a lifestyle that accepts the notion that accomplishments and harmony can coexist. She believes everyone deserves to experience surroundings that feel like a sanctuary of beauty. As the SpaLife Curator, she shows high-achieving women entrepreneurs how to create a life where ambition, accomplishment, and harmony coexists. Diane, how are you today?
I'm well. Thanks, Ron, for having me.
Thank you so much. And where are you calling in from?
I'm calling from sunny San Diego.
It's rainy and cool here in Billerica, right outside of Boston. And but that's life, I guess, huh? I was blessed to meet you at a couple of events and speak with you, and I'm a fan, and I know what you do, and I work with a lot of entrepreneurs, and what you talk about is something that everybody desires. So can you tell the listeners a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things I started stepping into SpaLife is let me just wind back here a little bit. I mean, I know you know that my background is in law enforcement, and so I was a San Diego police officer for 10 years. And with that, I have been in thousands of homes. And what I noticed was the homes that we were being called to, a lot of them were filled with clutter and things were not working. And so I created a concept called the clutter to drama ratio. The more clutter you had in your space, whether that was physical or in your mind, was affecting your life and bringing drama, and hence the police were coming. But I also noticed that the reverse is true, is that when you create the environments and you have the elements in your life that support you, then your mind is clear and you're able to succeed. So creating those environments that support you is key.
I love it, and you're 100% right. If people are stressed out and cluttered and have a lot of things going on in their life, having peace and tranquility certainly is not as easily as possible.
It's interesting because I also really teach people about creating a life of design instead of by default. If you just wake up in the morning and you let life happen to you, then yes, you can have unpredictable results and things can maybe go awry. But when you really design your life, and everything's going to be perfect, things are going to come up, but you're going to be able to handle them so much better when you design your life and you have intention in what you're doing. In fact, I always listen to something positive each morning, and one of the things I was listening to is, one of my mentors, Todd Durkin, who was interviewing Sean Stevenson, who talked about having a list of what works in life. It's that what works list, and it's those habits, that self-care. It's what I talk about in SpaLife, about what are the things that actually inspire you, because self-care, I like to talk about extreme self-care. When you really take care of yourself, then you are able to give back better because you're showing up as your best self.
I love it. And I, too, in the morning I get up, and I think it was yesterday I was listening to both Jim Rohns and Les Brown, and I'm pretty sure it was Les Brown who has spoken about that your first 20 minutes when you start your day, your brain is at like 10x or something like that. So whatever you feed it in that first 20 minutes not only sets the tone for the day, but it just has a much higher absorption rate.
Absolutely. I saw Les Brown live about 15 years ago, and he's amazing. And just, that's another aspect of what is your environment. Who are the people you're surrounding yourself with, whether physically or by listening to them? When, it's like if you've got people around you that are negative and, really sucking the life out of you, that's going to be your experience of life. You really want to not only be that person yourself, but surround yourself with people that encourage you to do the things that you're here to do.
Excellent. And I hate to keep going back, but it was Jim Rohns. It was either today or yesterday. I agree with you. Every morning I try to listen to like a half hour to an hour of something positive. And he was talking about leave the 90, 95, and 97% alone. and you know what I mean? The people who are negative, who are just going through life, they're just staring at their computer screens, watching different shows and eating nachos, you know what I mean? But if you have the opportunity, if you can, surround yourself with people who, like you said, that support you and just have a better mindset. Because one thing that you'll find with almost all successful people, and success is designed in different metrics for different people. You know, you don't have to be worth $50 million to be successful. If you have happiness in your heart, you're also, on some level, successful too. So, one of the biggest things that successful people had in common was that they were all optimists. They all had a positive outlook on life, and obviously things happen and they knock you down for a second or two, but you always get back up and you always be positive.
Absolutely. Mindset is such a big component of it, and we help create it, each and every day by what we choose to eat, how much sleep we get. I mean, all the things that we're creating in that extreme self-care really makes a difference in the experience of what we have. A lot of times if you talk to someone, you ask them how they're doing, so often they will just spit out, "Oh, I'm so busy, I'm so busy." Well, if we have this energy of "I'm so busy" and it feels bogged down and there's all the things that we have to do, if you think about it, you're not leaving the space to receive new things in and to have an experience that you want to have. You want to, really put the energy out there that you've got the space, and you can do that by creating it. So I like to also talk about the calendar as being your mind in action, that whatever's on there is the life that you're choosing to live, and you have to start thinking about it in terms of what do you get to do versus what you have to do. Because really there's nothing you have to do.
Excellent. And I have a little thing here about what your process is, but I think it would be better if the listeners could hear it. And first, I want to go back, and I want to thank you for your service. I mean, today's police officers and firefighters, and I mean, there was a car accident right outside the street here last night, and thankfully nobody was hurt, but the car flipped up on its side, went into the woods, and within minutes, firefighters and the police came. So, day in and day out, police, firefighters, military, the first responders, you guys are just heroes of the first order. So I want to say thank you. And the things you saw in those 10 years, I mean, it had to be mentally and emotionally draining, but instead of allowing it to just wear you down, you went on to create this program to help, people have a better life. So I just on a personal level, plus, with 1 million listeners or so, I just want to say thank you. So, and from that, can you tell us a little bit about the process, how you help people bring balance into their life with, I believe you have 9 elements?
Yes, thank you for that, and thank you for your recognition of first responders. I mean, for all my brothers and sisters that are out there on a daily basis, if you see one of the first responders today, please shake their hand, give them a smile. I mean, what they've seen today is probably nothing close to what you've seen. So I really appreciate those that recognize that. And so when I was doing, when I started stepping into my work and I started really looking at the elements. I mean, originally I started looking at 9 elements or 9 environments that was originally coined from Thomas Leonard, who is thought of as the father of modern-day coaching. And one of his students was Jim Bunch, who created the ultimate game of life. And I was one of the first people in playing that year-long game, and that game was about creating a life where it was what made you happy first, then healthy, and then wealthy. Because we all know people that have created wealth, but they've done it at the experience of, or they've done it at the expense of their happiness and their health. They're not feeling good. They're getting divorced. There's all these things that are happening, and so we really want to look at what are we creating in our life on a bigger scale to really support us. So there were a couple things that in my work that I changed a little bit and created my 9 elements. And one of the main things is that self-care, that extreme self-care that we look at. And so, anything that you do affects everything else. So the foundational part that I help people with, and I've got my online academy, the Diane Halfman Academy, and I've got my Clutter to Calm course. And one of the things that we look at is what are you creating in your physical space? Because it really impacts everything. I mean, we have, I know that a lot of your listeners are entrepreneurs and they want to create big things in the world. Well, one of the things I talk about is that creativity craves clarity. And what that means is that if you're going to be creative, if you're going to do these big things in the world, you got to have clarity, and you have to have space to do that. And so you want to look at your physical space and really create the things that support you. So those foundational aspects that do that is your mindset, your physical space, and your self-care. Those are the first, three things that I look at. And then, the other aspects that also affect that is, the relationships you have, getting out in nature, the network, and all those really tie into your spirituality, your body, your finances. I mean, all of these things interweave together to really support you. And a lot of people have made the analogy when things are working, it's like a car that's rolling on all cylinders versus one flat tire. If you got a flat tire, something's off and it's not working. So really looking at all of those different elements that make a life that works.
That's excellent. And again, I deal with a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners, and some of them are solopreneurs, and they're wearing so many different hats that certain elements of their life, that like certainly parts of what you're talking about, are lacking the attention, and it just takes away from the whole the whole point was to have a level of freedom, to have a better life. And sometimes you get so immersed in things, and if you don't learn to delegate, and one of the things I tell my clients is no MWAs, no minimum wage activities. Anything that you can delegate for anywhere from 8 to 15 to even $20 an hour, you need to do that to free up some of your time to focus on your 1, 2, or 3 top producing activities. But the flip side of that is when they free up some of their time, it allows them to go out and exercise, to maybe prepare a little bit of more healthier food, or simply go to the beach and just sit for an hour and do nothing but let their mind rest. And when they come back, they'll be so much more creative and so much more focused by staying in that genius zone that they have. And I think that fully supports everything you're saying. So I'm a big fan.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're right on with that. And so, especially when we're here to do big things, sometimes we feel like we don't have the time to, work out or to take care of ourselves or to really, pay attention to our relationships. But, really, we don't have time not to do that, because it's like, what are we doing all of these things for? You really want to be able to support the life that you are here to do. And so that's actually one of the reasons why I created the SpaLife retreat. So those are 3.5-day events, and I have them, and I also do them for private companies, where you get to step outside of your life and really look at all of those 9 elements and see, what kind of things you need to shore up, really rejuvenating yourself, because, sometimes if you just keep going, you're just looking at the same things over and over again, and something's not working. And it's really when you step outside of your normal environment that really supports, that bigger vision. And you have those big breakthroughs when you actually take the time to really look at what's supporting you and what's not. And when you step outside of your life and you look at a different environment and you take care of yourself, when you come back in, you're just that much more on fire.
I love it. I go to a lot of events. Like I met you at a couple, and one of the things I really like about the event is, in addition to the information we receive, but it's also the people, surrounding yourself with like-minded, positive people. And by extension, hearing you talk like that now, you know what I mean, and the other guests I have on this show talking about, similar things, it's almost like old home week. I feel so comfortable when I talk and listen to people like you, because I know it's just so right on. But some of the listeners may be at different stages of their self-development and in their work environment. Can you give maybe 1 or 2 or 3 tips how people could actually start mentally and emotionally getting to the place? Certainly contacting you. We'll get your contact information later so people can reach out to you. But maybe 1 or 2 or 3 tips that people might be able to incorporate now to start the process?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that I have people start with, right off the bat, is to really take a hard look at your space. Really, stand into, your office and each room of your home and really look and see what's working and not working in that space. For instance, in your office, is that a space that is actually inspiring you to, create more prosperity, to inspire you to do, the project that you want to do? I I'm finding more and more clients are not doing their work in their office because it doesn't inspire them. They're doing it at Starbucks, or they're doing it at some other place, which if that's the place that inspires you, great, but don't do it because your environment is not supporting you. The same thing is true for like your bedroom. If you go into your bedroom and you have a bunch of electronics in there and you got piles of things, you're not really supporting having great deep sleep. So you really want to look at how's that room supporting you. So if you just walk room to room where you live and look and see, sometimes just removing one thing out of the space or adding something in that inspires you makes the difference in your experience. So that alone is something that can really support people. And the big thing is awareness. So having awareness around you and how is that working, that's one of the reasons why I created my Clutter awareness quiz, because having that awareness of what your space is supporting you really makes a difference. So that was one of my free gifts that I wanted to give to your listeners was my Clutter awareness quiz, because it's a 4-minute quiz where you can actually now know what is supporting you and what is not supporting you, and then be able to make those shifts and those changes. And that's at theclutterawarenessquiz.com.
Excellent. That sounds great. Can we get like your full contact information? And listeners, just so you know, if for some reason you're not able to write this down or you're driving, don't worry about, don't crash trying to find a pen. All this episode, like all our episodes, will be archived on my website, rcstechnologysolutions.com. Just go to where it says media, and then you'll see radio shows, but also WCAP, this radio station. If you go to their website, up in the right-hand corner, you'll see archives, so you'll be able to listen to all this episode again, as well as get Diane's contact information, and as well as all the other previous episodes. But Diane, could you please let people know how they can contact you directly?
Absolutely. Thanks for asking. You can always go to DianeHalfman.com. That's DianeHalfman, and I have a lot of resources there. Also can follow me on Facebook at Diane Halfman Fans. On Mondays and Wednesdays at 9 a.m. Pacific, I do Facebook Live, either interviewing people that are living their spa life and having that connection where they've got the accomplishment and harmony happening. And even later on today, in fact, just in 30 minutes here, I'll be going live with the tips in the different 9 environments. So if you want to have some support around creating the environment and having the elements in your life that really support you, then I invite you to follow me on Facebook, Diane Halfman Fan.
Excellent. Diane, thank you so much. And listeners, you had a nice treat today listening to Diane. I know her on a personal level, and I highly recommend you reach out and contact her, both listen to her lives on Facebook, her 9 a.m. lives, or 12 p.m. our time here on the East Coast. So, Diane, thank you. And listeners, you've been listening to the Internet Marketing and Business Solutions radio show with Ronald Couming from RCS Technology Solutions, where we help business owners and entrepreneurs achieve even greater success using various Internet marketing methods and techniques. Thanks.